Hello everybody, welcome back to some more news on Way of the Hunter. I know I'm a bit late on this one, but I wanted to kind of learn a little bit more about this system before I talked about it. We're going to be taking a look at the second dev diary that Nine Rocks Games released, talking about the trophy system in Way of the Hunter, and I'm going to give you guys some more in-depth details on what exactly they were explaining and what they meant by it. I do have access to the game as of now, and I've been playing it for a few days, so I do have to be careful what I say, not to accidentally reveal something that hasn't already been shown, but I will try to just explain it best as I can in stuff that they have already revealed. So without further ado, let's get into it, and first let's start off by taking a look at the Dev Diary number 2 so that you guys can get an idea of what we're talking about.
Trophies are a big part of hunting games and hunting communities as well. We are no different. We hold them in great care, and that's why we created complex trophy system. Most of the trophies in the game are real-world scans, which we received from Slovak hunting organizations. One of the challenges we encountered at the beginning was which system to choose, whether to choose the American bone and croquet system or the European CIC. Basically what we decided was to go in some sort of a mix, which would result in a universal system. Trophies in the game are generated based on age and fitness of animals. The system might be called complex, but it's very easy to understand. The higher fitness of animal, meaning the higher genetic potential, and older the animal is, the more majestic the trophy is. Once an animal is harvested, you can review all the important points and parameters in claim screen. During your hunting trips, you should always strive for a balance. You should hunt low fitness animals as well as high fitness animals. But if you want to create a hunting heaven, you should focus on harvesting low fitness males. The main type of trophies are antlers, horns, tusks, skulls and weight. Let's see an example how we created a trophy for red deer. It is one of the most prominent animal in the game. Antlers of red deer consist of parameters such as length of the main beam, typical points, crown, circumference and greatest spread. All the above mentioned parameters change dynamically in the game and are based on fitness and age of the animal. There is also a bit more to the antlers of red deer, and it's the color palette and also the chipped white tips, and both of them are randomly generated. If we then go to the detail, we have 8 models of antlers for red deer, and each of those 8 models have 3 variations. Also, all of the 3 variations have minimum and maximal sizes. Once they are combined together, we create a whole palette of red deer animals. Different animals have different parameters to score. For example, blackhorn sheep has so-called annuli rings, and for example, roe deer has purling. Hopefully, you will enjoy the complex trophy system, and see you next time.
So the first thing that they talked about in the video is the fact that all of the animals that we see in-game, every single set of antlers is real-life scans that are taken from various different places, and or should I say various different databases, and that is really cool. It's very important in a hunting game to have real-life scans. That way your animals look incredibly realistic, and that is a really good thing to hear, that they have taken everything from real-world racks. And they also talked about how there is going to be a combination of a couple different scoring systems, being Boone and Crockett, and I believe they said CIC as well. Let me take a look once again. Yeah, so the scoring system is going to be a combination of Boone and Crockett and CIC, so it's not going to be one or the other. The scores are going to be very unique compared to real life, but they've kind of taken 2 different scoring systems and meshed them together. The next thing that they talked about was the complex trophy system, which is the CTS for short. This is their random generated antler system that they have in the game, and this is by far one of the most impressive systems I think I've ever seen. You can almost think of it as an even more advanced version of True Racks in Call of the Wild or the Hunter Classic, and this one takes a ton of incredible things into account, and when you look at this dev diary right here, they show a few different whitetail racks, and they talk about how these are varying levels of fitness and trophy ratings. So essentially, the 1-star buck that we see on the left, that is a mature buck that is only a 1-star trophy rating. So this guy's got poor genetics. He's not something you want to have in your herds. You want to get that guy out of there as quick as possible. And then something over there with a 3-star genetics buck. That guy, or 3-star trophy rating buck, that guy probably has some pretty average genetics. Like, he's not monstrous, but he's not terrible either. And that right there, for most people, would be considered a pretty good shooter buck. And one thing I did want to note already, just from these images that we see right here, or not really images, it is videos, but you can tell that there is massive differences between the left and the right antlers. And that's part of the randomly generated system. You'll see that some tines are kind of bent in one direction or the other. Others may be a little bit shorter than the other tines, and you can even see the wear on the tips of the tines, and all of that stuff will vary from rack to rack. You'll have different racks where one of the tines might just randomly be shorter than the rest, or it might be kind of bent outward, and that is part of their randomized trophy system. This honestly seems like it is the perfect trophy system, at least when it comes to all the video games that are out there. I do think this is going to be the most advanced and incredible randomly generated trophy system we have ever seen in a video game. They continue on and show us a 4-star and 5-star trophy rating buck. Now, these are going to be some of the best genetics bucks that you can get out there, and obviously there's going to be a lot more variation than just what we see here. This is just a couple examples of what a really good genetics buck is going to look like. And a little bit later in the video, they explain a little bit more about the system and how that's going to work, and essentially you can manipulate your herds on the map and kind of influence what is going to be there in the future based off of what deer you harvest. If you focus your efforts on getting the bad genetic bucks out of your herd, there is a pretty good chance that you are going to produce better bucks in the future and have more chances at getting 5-star or 4-star trophy rating deer that will be absolute giants at a very young age and be absolute monsters when they finally reach their full potential. And this is honestly the type of system you need in a hunting game for longevity if you want to be able to have tons of replayability and get thousands of hours out of a game. This is the type of system that you would want, and honestly, I am so impressed with what they have managed to create here. And they've also talked about how there will be aging, and eventually the animals will die if you don't harvest them. Now, you won't actually see a carcass or anything. They will die off screen. But if you let an animal live for too long, it will just disappear off your map one day, which is a really cool aspect of it. I love the fact that you have to not only wait for the bucks to get big and let them grow, but then you also have to be knowledgeable enough to know kind of like when you need to harvest it so that you don't miss out on that buck. And I think this system is going to make for some incredible content when it comes to different series on YouTube. I'm definitely going to probably do a series starting fresh after early access and just trying to manage our herds to where they're able to produce giants. And this is honestly exactly what you would do in real life as well. If you own a large plot of land and you have lots of trail cameras around and you're keeping tabs on all the deer that are on your property, you can do stuff like this. You can see like a good buck that you think has potential to be a giant, but he may be a younger buck, and you can let him live and grow the next year, and you may never see him, but you also could end up finding him the next year, and he could be the biggest buck that you've ever shot. And that's going to bring some insane replayability to this game. And I gotta say, for my time playing it, and obviously I can't speak on much, but I've had a lot of fun with it, and I think it's a very amazing system. A little bit further on in this dev diary, they ended up showing something even more amazing that we haven't seen before in any game as far as I know, and that is the fact that some of the older animals will actually have varying degrees of wear on their antlers based on just their age and their fitness and stuff like that, which is really cool. That is something that I've never seen before in a video game. Varying degrees of wear on the tips is going to be a really cool thing to add some more variety to different trophies. I truly think this may be the first hunting game where no two trophies look the same. Obviously, in Call of the Wild, trophies have differences, but they're very hard to notice. But this seems to be a game where there will be much more noticeable differences between all of the different trophies that may be of the same rating or roughly the same score. We might still see some massive differences in tine lengths and maybe just certain tines being abnormally short or long or bent out to the side, along with the different degrees of wear on the tines. This is shaping up to be one of the greatest systems of any hunting game. And last of all, they showed a little bit of the variances that you can see in the red deer antlers. They've said there is 8 different base frames for the red deer. And I've seen a couple people saying 8 frames. Well, that's not much variety. But one thing that you forget to think about is the fact that not only is there 8 different frames, but they can be angled in different positions. They can have different tine lengths. They can have different amounts of wear on the tines. They can have the tines that are bent off in random directions, making it so even though there's 8 base racks, there is still thousands of possibilities for different combinations of tine lengths, wear, and all that type of stuff. That's going to make this still pretty incredible. And you can also have 2 different antlers, on one red deer, 2 different looking antlers, so there is a lot of variety. And that is not the only thing that's going to set different trophies apart. Different species will have different things that can vary on them. For the roe deer, you can see different levels of purling, and then also on the bighorn sheep, they talked about the anole rings. So there is going to be lots of variety for stuff that isn't something like an elk or a red deer or a whitetail or a mule deer that will kind of like set the trophies apart from each other, and that is really amazing. It's great to see that they've gone so in-depth this system. But that is going to be the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Dev Diary number 2, talking about the complex trophy system and the differences between this system and other systems, and also some of the stuff that you guys may have not understood from just their explanation in there. And I cannot wait to show more of this content to you guys starting on August 12th. We will be streaming and posting lots of Way of the Hunter stuff starting at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But that's going to be it for this. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to subscribe, click that like button, and ring that notification bell so that you guys will never miss any of the future uploads. Also, be sure to leave a comment down below on if this video helped you out and if you have a better understanding of what this system is like now. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace!